What's going on, beautiful people? Beautiful people, what's going on? Welcome once again to the Philosopher Study. It's your brother Moa Olodumare. I'd like to welcome y'all all again to the Philosopher Study. Make some noise for yourselves. Oh yes, oh yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are far too kind. So this lovely month that we're in this time is called Black History Month, y'all. It's a beautiful time that we sit back and reflect on the greatness of our people. Well, I would like to use this time to reflect on a little bit more than just the greatness of our people. Because we as a people still have some quite rough terrain ahead of us. So, instead of just focusing on the great things that our ancestors and our elders and stuff did then, it's really time for us all to actually look at some of the things that we're dealing with in the present and how our Black future is going to look going forward. So, this is what we're going to do today, man. We're just going to sit back and reflect and think about the things that we say that we think about to see what we actually really think about them. You know what I'm saying? I believe that made sense. I hope that made sense. But you know what I'm saying? We're going to have fun with it nevertheless. You know what I'm talking about? If y'all in the building, man, please make some noise. Holler at me on the chat and all of that good stuff so I can see who's up here in the building. And also we have the banner going down at the bottom for any kind of donations. We do have Cash App, $ Moa Temple. And also please follow, like, and subscribe and all of that good stuff to all the various platforms, but particularly on the U of Tubes, YouTube Moa Studios right there, as it's going down at the bottom of the banner right there. So if you could please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, so anytime we go live and all that good stuff, you'll know that we're in the building, because we don't only go live for the Philosopher Study itself as the podcast. We also go live when the philosopher just happens to be studying. For those that do know or don't know or somewhere in between, I am currently a student obtaining my master's of library and information science, and I come on here to study and all that good stuff as well, sometimes to force myself to study to get it all in and handle business in that sense. You know what I'm saying? So anytime, you know what I'm saying, please come through. Chosen Queen is in the building. Make some noise for Chosen Queen. You know what I'm talking about? And if you're able to hear the sound effects this go around, please let me know that you can hear them. I think we got all the bugs and kinks like all that fixed. And if not, we still gonna keep it rocking and rocking. You know what I'm talking about? So for today's topic, y'all, let's get to the real. Let's get to the real. Today's topic, yo, is Black history. I mean, of course, right? We're in Black History Month. But I want to actually look at Black history in a deeper aspect. And not only, again, acknowledge the greatness of our past, but also reflect on our past and see how some of those things in that past had effects or have effects in our future, or if they have any effects at all in our present and our future. And let's cut to the chase, man. Why Black people overall are in the position that we are in. These are serious things that we got to think about. And unfortunately, I think too many of us are distracted by nonsense that we don't see the realness that's going on in our communities right in front of our face. I have there's this organization called the National Association of Educational Progress, the NAEP. I believe that's the correct thing for it. And they have been tracking the literacy rates for, all students in general. But, my main focus is on my community, in the African-American community, since 1992. And y'all, since 1992, and they look at certain grades. They look at the 4th, the 8th, and the 12th grades in literacy, mathematics, and science, I believe. And my main focus is on literacy. And in each of those years, y'all, since everything has been being tracked since 1992, our children's literacy rates have not been more than 25% in neither the fourth grade, the eighth grade, or the 12th. And that's just with literacy. For mathematics and science, it's even worse. And for these numbers to be like they are, and since 1992, and we only know since 1992 because that's when this particular organization was actually um, tracking these numbers. Our children are failing in the most basic of things. On top of that, that will end up translating into black adults who are not going to be able to be competitive in the marketplace because 45%, I believe, of our people are in more so service based um jobs and things like that. And if we keeping it real, y'all, these are the jobs that's going to be taken over by automation. These are the jobs that are being taken over by automation right here, right now, in our face, right here, right now. Every time you go to the grocery store, you're starting to see less and less cashiers and more self-service places. Not only at the grocery stores, at the fast food restaurants and things like that. And you know, we was of course talking about, like, you know, the low minimum wage and all of that good stuff, and all that stuff is right and true. Yo, but what's going to happen to the future of our people if they can't even get those jobs anymore because they have been replaced by automation? So what bothers me the most about this situation that we're dealing with as a people is that it doesn't seem like enough. Well, fuck, it doesn't seem like there's enough of our people who are taking this seriously. These are our children. This is the future, and we are in a tough spot. If you don't know, let this be an alarm, yo. We are in a tough spot as a people, and we can't sit around here and bullshit and waste time on a bunch of frivolous nonsense. And what I see right now as a people, as we were reflecting on our people on this Carter G. Woodson's Black History Month, and all I see is overall an unfocused people that are spending too much of their time and attention on bullshit. I got to be the one to tell you the truth, yo. I love you too much. Because, fam, I'm out here actually volunteering at some of our local schools. I'm volunteering at a local elementary school. Part of my job is to work and collaborate with middle schools and high schools. And God bless the teachers. God bless them all. God bless the administration and everybody and everyone who gets up every day and goes into this profession knowing it's something that is a thankless job. More often than not, we thank you, we love you, and we appreciate you. But I need to put the camera on the community real quick and understand that our teachers and this whole profession of teaching and everything is in peril, y'all. We're dealing with situations where our children will go through, let's say, high school without a legitimate science teacher because they have to have a substitute teacher cover it because there's that many vacancies. This is something serious that we're dealing with, and we wonder why our children are having the numbers that they're having. Now, of course, the problem that we're dealing with as a people, as a community, is multi-layered. Don't get it twisted. I understand that the problem that we're dealing with as a people is multi-layered. Okay? But the problem is, for me, is that we continue to put all of our focus, all of our energy, and all of our attention on people, things, and institutions outside of ourselves instead of looking at ourselves and looking at the things that we can control. Because even in a world that's going crazy and it seems like there's things that everything is outside of your control, there are still things always that are within our control. There are things that are within our control that we can use to our benefit to ensure that our people, our children, are going to be able to live in a more fruitful future. So these are the things that we got to think about on this Black History Month. These are the things that we have to think about in our Black History Month. There is a ton within our control. Absolutely. Matter of fact, if you can think of other things that are within our control, go ahead and drop it in the comments right now as we continue our conversation. But when we think about Black history, the problem that I have with most of the acts of Black history is we fall into the trap of idolizing. Well, I'm not going to say idolizing because that's one thing, but we are turning our history into an idol. So instead of idolizing the figures of our past, we have we have turned them into idols. And that's an important distinction to make, because if you idolize our greats from the past, try to become them today. However, in this misconstrued and skewed version of spirituality and everything like that, we've turned our ancestors into idols where we're worshiping them instead of trying to embody the moral character that they possessed, so we can implement it into today. We worship the relics of their past. We worship the relics of their works that they did before as something so grandiose that we can't even imagine to try to do it today. So the best thing that we can do is sit back and talk about the things that they did. We can sit back and wear the Malcolm X hats and shirts and share the quotations and everything and say, yeah, Malcolm was the man. Malcolm was the man. Mm-hmm. You know, we could say what we love about Dr. Martin Luther King. We could say what we love about Marcus Garvey and all these other great grand figures, Ida B. Wells, Fannie Lou Hamer, so on and so forth. Our brothers and sisters of our past. We can sit here and intellectualize about the greatness that they have shown and exhibited. However, it takes a lot more work, y'all, to be able to take that inspiration and try to implement it in today's situation that we're dealing with right here and right now. And this is real. This is the thing that we really need to look at for real, because if the major media outlets are not going to make this thing national of national importance, we need to do so. We need enough adults within our community to understand that we are dealing with a national emergency if our children cannot read by the droves, if our children cannot practice literacy or numeracy or any scientific endeavor. We are in a terrible spot. And when we think about it and reflect again, like when I said, when we turn our ancestors into idols, that wasn't the only thing that we turned into idols. There's tons of other things that we turned into idols and thus made them useless in many sense. Our ideas of success, our ideas of power. These are other things that we have turned into idols so much that even the somewhat images of these things that we think we have really amount to not much at all. And this will especially hold true if social media is a microcosm of what life is in general for Black folks overall. We're in a serious position. And we need to really step back and reflect on things. Because for an example, in the Black community right now, of course, is a great talk about entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is definitely a key that our people need overall to pull ourselves up from the positions that we're in. Entrepreneurship is definitely one of those keys. However, we also have to look at the conversations that many of us are having around the concept of entrepreneurship. And if you're hearing the same things that I'm hearing, And of course, y'all, this is not for every, directed towards everybody or everything. But if we look at the conversations that we're having about entrepreneurship, the conversation sounds like it's coming from a bunch of people who've never really practiced entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that always bothered me in our conversations about entrepreneurship within our communities is this weird relationship of the boss and the workers. Everybody wants to be the boss so much that they're dissing the workers. But you're saying that you're an entrepreneur and, a mini mogul and all these things that you say that you are. But the main thing that you need to make sure that your business lives are employees and workers of various sorts. This is outside, of course, the customer and things like that. But the worker and the boss has a relationship that one cannot live without the other. And this is a very basic thing within understanding entrepreneurship. But when I see so many of our people that are in these quote entrepreneurial spaces talk about the workers and employees and 9-to-5s and everything with such disdain, it's gotten so bad that it has seeped into our culture that if you work a 9-to-5, that if you're less than a human being almost. But yet you say that you're an entrepreneur, that you're a mogul, and you're this and you're that. Yo, fam, who's gonna work for your who's gonna work for your businesses, fam? That Fortune 500 company that you're building, who gonna work for that? Who's gonna work to keep that sustained? Workers, right? But the thing is, you're talking so crazy about workers that if and when you do become the boss that you are manifesting yourself to be, it causes me to question how you're going to treat the workers that's going to help manifest your vision. See, we have a very short-sighted idea of what manifestation is. Because there's the things to manifest and then there's the steps to get towards that manifestation. So if entrepreneurship, in a sense, is your goal of manifestation, along that manifestation, you're going to have workers and employees. And for these businesses, especially, for these businesses to end up being community pillars, if we're going to use these businesses to help build the Black community, which is what we're talking about, which is why we're here, right? We're going to have to also understand the importance of human resources and interpersonal relationships with your employees and your employees with their high up. See, the thing is people are skipping steps. Too many people are skipping steps. And yo, I'm not saying don't become an entrepreneur, but don't diss the steps it's going to take you to get there. So while you're working your 9-to-5, while you're working that job, you better learn the game while you're there. See if you could become manager or at least assistant manager so you can see what the manager's doing. Because most of my professional life, I was an assistant manager. And I was just, peeping over the shoulder of what the actual manager, the actual leader was actually doing. But these, and I soaked in a lot of game from just observing in that sense. Enough that it emboldened me enough to take that next step and become a manager myself. Become a manager myself and actually lead a ship. That's a totally different mindset than what a lot of these people are saying that they do. And if these are the ones that's in leadership right now, that leadership is going to be short-lived. because you can't disrespect your crew. You can't have a smaller version, a vision of the people that support you as you support them. It doesn't make sense. So again, we have become a misfocused people that are distracted by the images of success, by the images of reality, by the images of coming up. But the reality, but the real of the situation is, not much has changed since the civil rights era. The main thing that's changed since the civil rights era concerning our people is the technology that documents it. And of course, we've made strides and things. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I know it's easy to do here, but those with an ear, let them hear what I'm saying. Up until the 60s and 70s, I would say the 70s at least. Up until then, we were progressing. We understood that we were in a baton race, and the elders would run as far as they can before they became ancestors and pass the baton to their children, and they went farther and farther and farther and kept on going. And now, millennials, y'all know we the adults now, right? We're the leaders of the generation now, right? By the time Dr. King was my age, he only had 3 more years to live. Okay? Murdered assassinated at 39. Malcolm at 39. A lot of us are older than that right now. And what can we say that we have done in our lives that can remotely compare to them? What have we done? Let's keep it all the way real. What have we done to remotely assume that our prayers are even worthy enough to reach their ears? What have we done as a people, collectively as a people, to assume that our prayers are worthy enough to reach our ancestors' ears? Because we're talking this game. We're talking this game. Some people are going so far as calling themselves God. And I understand the nomenclature. Peace, God. Yeah. But come on, fam. These polar opposites can't be true. We can't sit here and call ourselves gods and our people are living in hell when we're being blown to and fro by every wind of doctrine. So that's another part of the issue. I believe one of the family was telling me was talking about identity crisis. Yeah, here we go. It's an issue with identity. It's an issue with identity. A lot of our people who might have similar, who have Afrocentric names and wear ankhs and all this kind of things, like, they are the main ones that's disrespecting our ancestors. Talking about our ancestors in the 50s, 60s and all that, like they was just some suckers and some chumps. Made it a mantra to say that I am not my ancestors. Those that say that they venerate their ancestors have made a mantra out of saying, I am not my ancestors. And say that shit in a position as if they're doing something greater than they are. But when the truth of the matter is, if it wasn't for the social media shit, nobody would know who the fuck you are. Want to talk about some Dr. Martin Luther King. Want to call Booker T. Washington a sellout. Want to talk crazy about Thomas Sowell. Want to talk crazy about Walter Williams. When we haven't done a smidge of what these people have done, and they gave us the blueprint of it all. We got to sit back, man. We got to sit back and reflect and change our steeds and a lot of this shit, man, because the game is real, man. Check this out, yo. So I was reading this book not too long ago from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's called The Strength of Love. I know it's probably gonna show up backwards here, or is this on? Oh, hold on, it was a little blurred. I don't know if y'all can. Strength of Love. You just trust me. That's what it's called. And it's a book of sermons on God's divine laws as mirrored in the gospel by the man who has been called the American Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a child genius, by the way. Y'all should look that up. Drop a bomb for that, you know what I'm saying? Dr. Martin Luther King was a child genius. You heard? Straight like that. But the first sermon in this book is called A Tough Mind and a Tender Heart. Already the difference in teachings, but let's go in because I don't want to waste any time. Let us consider first the need for a tough mind, characterized by incisive thinking, realistic appraisal, and decisive judgment. The tough mind is sharp and penetrating, breaking through the crust of legends and myths and sifting the true from the false. The tough-minded individual is astute and discerning. He has a strong quality that makes for firmness of purpose and solidness of commitment. Come on, man. Listen to what the doctor right here is saying, yo. The need of a tough mind. Where in anywhere in society right now are they promoting tough-mindedness? They're not. They're promoting soft-mindedness. And just to let you know how great this man, Dr. King, was, he already spoke about it. Let's talk. Let's read. This prevalent tendency towards soft-mindedness is found in man's unbelievable gullibility. Take our attitude towards advertisements. We are so easily led to purchase a product because a television or radio advertisement pronounce it to be better than any other. Advertisers have long learned that the susceptibility. Advertisers have long learned that most people are soft-minded and capitalize on this susceptibility with skillful and effective slogans. Come on, yo. This man right here, put some respect on Dr. King's name. I don't give a damn if you disagree with him or not, whether you agree with him or not. This man right here was a prophet in that sense, because this is exactly what we're dealing with right here and right now. We're dealing with a bunch of soft-mindedness. And for those that have been following me for quite some time on Facebook or wherever, you notice that I've said throughout the years, I say, yo, we are living in a giant advertisement. Nobody is thinking for themselves. Nobody's really feeling for themselves. Nobody's really doing much for themselves. No one's definitely not talking for themselves anymore, because we have taken away our own humanity and have become brands, or have the ambition of becoming brands. We don't even want to be human beings anymore. We don't want to say this thing or say that thing because it might tarnish my brand. And the thing is, you want to say that you're a brand before you even have an idea of who you are anyway. So now you're absolutely nothing at all. And now your whole sense of self has become an idol. Your whole sense of self has become an idol. Eyes that can't see, ears that can't hear, a mouth that can't speak. All y'all say is a bunch of slogans. You can say Black Lives Matter. No, Blue Lives Not Matter. No, all lives matter. Slogan after slogan after slogan, rhetoric after rhetoric after rhetoric. But when I post something out there, say, hey, yo, let's volunteer and read to these children. I need 100 men. I don't hear a goddamn thing. when it's time to actually put in some work that just plant a seed inside of a young child's mind that can totally change the trajectory of their life, what do we hear? Not a goddamn thing. All these gods in the street, all these gangsters in the street, all these goddamn witches and all this bullshit that y'all be talking about in the street. But when it's time to do something that actually has real impact on the child's life, I don't hear a damn thing from y'all. Come on, man. But you say you about the community, huh? But you say you about the community, huh? It don't take much. It don't take much to change the trajectory of a child. All it takes, listen. All it takes is for a child to know that somebody gives a damn about them, and that changes the trajectory of their life. All it takes is for a child to know that you care. That's all it takes. It's for a child to know that you care. And next thing you know, they're going to start caring themselves. But this is the problem. Another problem of the situation. I'm gonna come with the sources and all that later. But those that know me know I don't bullshit when I'm on this microphone. There was a study that said that the dream career for people 16 to 32 is being a social media influencer. The dream career for people between 16 and 32 is to be a social media influencer. Now. Nothing wrong with that overall, right? It sounds like. But nobody finds it weird or suspicious. You don't find that suspicious? That someone 16 and someone double their age has the same ambitions for life goals. So a 16-year-old and someone double their age have the same life goals. Nobody finds that a little bit weird. What does that mean? That means that these 16-year-olds and these 32-year-olds are going to be doing the same damn thing. Because let's keep it real. 99.9% of these people that's trying to be social media influencers are not dropping philosopher studies. I mean, people are copying and pasting goddamn statuses, fam. Nobody want to be a doctor. Nobody wants to be a lawyer. Nobody wants to be a plumber. But you know what? You should ask Flint, Michigan, who they need more of right now, plumbers or social media influencers. All those that say everything that they got to say about blacks in the law system and all that, and how the system is corrupt and all of that good stuff, and we say all of this on one side of our mouth, but on the other side of our mouth, we're not trying to produce any more lawyers in droves. And all of these fields in which black people are underrepresented and or are dealing with the most societal inequalities, we have the least amount of representation in the fields that can help us in those situations. And then we wonder why we are in those situations. But you know, let the media call it, let all these other people call it, well, it's just, you know, systemic racism and shit, you know? It's the system that's against me. And, you know, that had a little bit more credence for our ancestors and our elders when they actually had to deal with more abject racism and things like that that we that we only read about. But to continue to ride that horse today, I don't know, fam. I don't know if it holds up to the scrutiny. I don't know if it holds up to the scrutiny of our people's resilience, our power, and our strength. Those who say you worship your ancestors. There's still people out here saying, there's still people out here saying that we can't do, or we can't be, or we can't achieve, or we can't do this, that, or the third due to the legacy of slavery. Many of y'all heard that before, right? Drop a comment in the comment section if you heard something of that effect, that black people are in the condition that they're in because of slavery, or we can't do this because of slavery. You know, that have heard that slavery is the cause of the condition that we're in as a people. Have y'all heard that before? I'm sure I'm not the only one, right? And while you're typing away in that, let's consider something. You damn right, brother. You know I love you, man. Let's consider something. So our people say, you know, there are people who say that we're in the condition that we're in due to the legacy of slavery. But you don't really have to go too far in our history to be like, well, if the legacy of slavery causes so much of nothingness or whatever with our people, how can you describe Booker T. Washington? Wait a minute. Now you telling me that we, 400 years later, the reason of our condition is due to slavery, due to the legacy of slavery. But Booker T. Washington, the author of Up From Slavery, come on, man, wake up, fam. Wake up, fam. Wake up, fam. If the legacy of slavery wasn't enough to knock Booker T. Washington off his square, how do you even have this excuse? If the legacy of slavery didn't stop Mother Harriet from saying, I'm out of here, what you mean? If the legacy of slavery was all it was cut out to be, how do we have a sojourner truth? If the legacy of slavery is all that it says it's supposed to be, how did we have a W.E.B. Du Bois? How did we have Martin Luther King? How did we have a Malcolm X? How did we have your grandmama and granddaddy and them? How did we have Black Wall Street? And since everybody wants to talk about Black Wall Street, 24 hours and 365 and all of that good shit. You want to talk about Black Wall Street and stuff like that. They was born closer to slavery and they built Black Wall Street, and we are born 400 years later saying that, come on, it doesn't make any sense. Come on, yo. For these people, slavery was either their parents or grandparents. And they built communities. And we're talking about some 400 some odd years later, and we can't come together. For what? For that same thing that you're trying to... Yo, stop trying to hijack niggas' struggles, fam. Stop trying to hijack... Yo, y'all out here looking silly. The fact of the matter is that our ancestors and our elders, they had a fervor for learning. They wasn't going to stop themselves from trying to get any book that they can get their hands on. Matter of fact, I have one of the books. I have one of the books that they was trying to get their hands on all the time right here. It's called the Blueback Speller. It was a spelling book, a Webster spelling book that They would use this book right here while they would go to church. They would think that they're just doing regular sermons and stuff like that, but the pastor low key is teaching our people how to read, how to spell, how to articulate, and things like that. This was an 1880s version right here. These are the actual books that our ancestors would die and try to get their hands on to teach themselves how to read. It doesn't matter if the building was dilapidated. It doesn't matter if the paint was made out of lead. It doesn't matter if it had drafts that was so cold it will shatter, it will shiver your timbers and shiver your bones and all of that good stuff. It didn't matter because the love of learning outweighed the struggles that we was dealing with. But look what we got going on now, yo. We got to stop having all this soft talk when it comes to our people and our condition. We're dealing with a bunch of losing, and we have a loser mentality, a victim mentality, a woe is me mentality, and guess what? Nobody is required to give a damn. And just because they practice their right to not give a damn doesn't mean that them niggas is racist. It means that they got their own shit going on and they can't sit here and worry about your bum ass and your bum ass kids that don't want to sit there and learn something. Oh, I work all these jobs and all this other bullshit. Do you work more than these ancestors that were slaved from can't see in the morning to can't see at night? Was the 40 or 80-hour work weeks and stuff like that comparable to actual slavery? And they still found a time of it's going to require sacrifice, y'all. We got to understand that our people's condition is going to take more than one lifetime to solve. Walmart didn't start the way that it is in one lifetime. Started off as one little store. Then that one store passed his daughter and whatever. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger throughout different people's lifetimes and things like that for it to become the large conglomerate that it is today. But the problem is nobody wants to start from the beginning. Nobody wants to start from ground zero. Nobody wants to have the shovel and actually dig and break the foundation for the thing that we actually need for our people. We want to ride bullshit trending trains that we're seeing on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and all this other bullshit. Yeah, you might get some money for now, man, and I hope you do well with it. I hope you are going to plant a seed for your futures, fam. But for the majority of the people, we need to be, again, the skilled labor of the world. This is what Booker T. Washington was laying the foundation on. Everybody was calling him a sellout, Uncle Tom, a coon, and all that bullshit. But if we would have followed his plan way back then, we would have been, or we would have remained the skilled labor that built this country, that built everything else from the ground up. But no, we didn't. Carter G. Woodson in The Miseducation of the Negro says we became too damn educated. We educated ourselves out of the fruit stands and went into this abstract thought and all of this good stuff, and we don't have any touch or any foundation to the ground anymore. We educated ourselves outside of the fruit stand. We educated ourselves outside of selling the watermelons and the peanuts and the things like that. And yes, I do understand the irony of this coming from a philosopher. But those that are called to be philosophers within the context of the Black tradition, it's our responsibility to bring these thoughts and ideas, because it's my job to study the archives. It's my job to go back. And this is how you talk to the ancestors. Cut the bullshit. Read the shit that they wrote. They're trying to talk to you, but you're not listening because goddamn most of our children can't read. And most of our adults can't either. So while we still have retired teachers, while we still have, different organizations out there, there's one in South Carolina called Turning Pages. You know what I'm saying? There's many apps and things out there. If you're struggling with reading, it's nothing to be ashamed of. But it is something to be ashamed of if you decide to stay in that goddamn position. Now you go out and you use Google like you use Google for everything else and try to find literacy training near me, reading near me, whatever it is near me. Go to your local library or whatever the case is for some self-help books, looking for some self-help DVDs. Go on YouTube, look up how to read 101 for adults or whatever the case it is to get yourself on par. The literacy rates for our people, matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up for you. Give me 1 second. So, but I do know right off the top of my head that the majority of American citizens read like on a 6th grade level. And doesn't that make a whole lot more sense now? That the majority of people's reading level is that of a 10, 11, or 12-year-old. Look at the immaturity that we see all around us all the time, everywhere. Look at how goddamn much attention that niggas is giving gossiping ass niggas. Like, who gives a fuck what these comedian niggas and beef they got with one another? Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about all this? I'm sorry. I enjoy the comedy. I don't care about the gossip because there's real shit that's going on. Man. I ain't crazy, yo. So check this out. Look at this website right here. This is the NAEP, the Nations Report Card.gov. This is for reading grade 4 as of 2022. Again, like I was saying, the grade 4, 8, and 12. Only 33% of 4th graders are at or above NAEP proficient in writing. In reading. But let's go to what we're actually care about here. So check this out. This is for black folks right here. You see? 1992, when they first started, was at 8% proficiency rate. '94, 8%. '98, 10, 10, 10, 12, 13, 13, 16, 17, 18, 18. We hit a high at 20. Then we went back down to 18 and 17. This is for the 4th graders. Let's look compared to our Asian brothers and sisters here. Look, their lowest was 1992, which is at 25%. We never even touched their lowest. We never even touched their lowest, fam. We never touched their lowest, and then we want to say that standards weren't lowered for affirmative action and all that shit. All right. And look at their trends. 25. After that 25, aside from 98, a majority of an upward trend. To get to 2022, and 56% are proficient. So more than half of their people are. More than half of their 4th graders are. And that's Asian Pacific Islander. Straight Asian, they didn't start recording until 2011. Started off at 50%. And even from there, they have an upward trajectory. American Indian, I think they have similar to us. Yeah. Hispanic. They're low, but you can see it has an upward trend. You know what I'm saying? If this graph was Horizontal, you will see it going upward like that. Hawaiian, other, white folks. White folks pretty much stay consistent. Their lowest is being 35. We haven't even touched their lowest. And fam, this is just the 4th grade. Let's check out the 8th grade. Eighth grade, similar. The highest that you see in the 8th grade is 18%. The lowest was 9%. Let's go to the 12th grade. That goes up to 2019. %. We're actually doing worse than what we did in 1992. We went down a percent. So we're regressing in that sense. Come on, man. And that's just reading. That's just reading. That's just reading. We're not talking about math. We're not talking about science. Those numbers are even worse. I'll leave that to you to do your scholarship on those ends. But this is real. This is the realness that's going on right here, y'all. And it's like, now that you know what the truth is, yo, and I'm running out of time right now, but yo, I could pull up the numbers of the school that I'm working with. Pull up. Matter of fact, wherever you are, wherever you're listening from, pull up your school's report card, see what's up, see what's going on in your neighborhood. Yeah, because the moment that you know is the moment that you become responsible. And responsibility is one of the scariest things that you can ever deal with. Because it's on you now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like when I learned of this information, I can't, as a man, you know, in the community, I can't stand for, I won't stand for it. Absolutely not. But it's what's so messed up is the difficulty of finding help within your own community to help your community be even greater. Want to talk about these celebrities and all this bullshit all day, but when it's time to actually try to help our students and our children, our young scholars to become greater, freaking crickets, yo. Been doing this for 8 years now. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's really taking it seriously. Shout out to the ones that are. Shout out to those that are. Because y'all the ones who need more love than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, show some love for y'all. Mm-hmm. All that. But these are the things that we got to deal with now, because like now that y'all seeing the foundations of where our people are at now, the lack of literacy rates and all that good stuff. When we look at the numbers that we just saw, can we sit here and still just blame racism for everything? I mean, you might be able to say, you know, yeah, it's because of racism that we're in. All right, Nick. All right. Yo, we understand that racism exists, my G. The question is now is what the fuck are we gonna do about it? Because we spent too much of our time intellectualizing about racism. We spent too much time intellectualizing about the problems that we're dealing with. We spent too many times intellectualizing of why these people are big bad wolves and everything like that. But we haven't used a tenth of that mind power towards the problems to actually find a solution for them. I can't deal with those that simply just get paid to intellectualize about the problem. We know, nigga, we live in it. All right. Instead of again, instead of just sitting there telling me that I'm a victim all goddamn day, why don't you show me a way that we can get out of this position that we're in? And our ancestors understood that education was key. And education is an umbrella term for so many things. Look, y'all, it's more than just the different silos in which we are shown that we have our proclivities towards. I'm a nerd. I'm a philosopher. This is my realm, the academic realm, and all of that. But that doesn't mean that it's any more or less important than those that work on the mechanic level, the physical labor, the trades. That's above shit. That's above us. Because where am I going to philosophize if I ain't got no building to philosophize in? Where am I going to read my books at if we don't have no electricians? Where am I going to use the bathroom at if we don't have no plumbers? The industrial trades and the academic trades we have to work together and understand that we're all one. We have gardeners, we have warriors, we have policemen, we have all of these things. It's a onion that has many layers, and each layer is just as important as the other, because all of these things are a part of a community. And the moment that one part of it feels that it's not a part of a community anymore, or feel like it's better than that community, better than something else in that community, we get discord. And we don't have leaders anymore. We just have entertainers. And that's just trying to siphon money out from the people. And that's what I feel that we're dealing with. And I think that's the things that we need to reflect on during this Black History Month. You know what? You know what's really real? We're going to have to reflect on even our heroes that we love so much and critique them to see whether if the trajectory that they were going was correct as well. Next time you listen to a Malcolm X debate, why don't you actually focus on the person that he was debating and see what they were saying? Because we get so caught up in the hero worship that all we hear is Malcolm X, or all we hear is James Baldwin, or all we hear is, whomever your favorite person and stuff is. But to be an intellectual in that sense, you have to hear and understand your opponent's point of view, understand where they're coming from. There's a great debate between Malcolm X and Bayard Rustin, and everybody was talking about how great Malcolm did, which he did, but Bayard Rustin was putting in that work too, and he did way better in that debate than people want to really give him credit for. So maybe that'll be some episodes that we do going forward, actually analyzing some of our historical debates from some of our great figures. If that sounds like something y'all might like, man, please just let me know, and we can do that and actually listen to what is actually being said. Because a lot of times, I might save it. But some of our favorite speakers, a lot of times they just be throwing a bunch of paperclip and stuff that has nothing to do with they're not answering the question, or they mask the fact that they're not answering their questions with certain buzzwords and things like that. Everybody does it, fam. And a lot of our great speakers are not exempt from that. So these are things that we have to consider. And, look at things from various perspectives. Me personally, I was, I grew up in, adoring, from the Malcolms to the Khalid Muhammad's to Marcus Garvey's to, you name them, I read them. I got them still here in my collection here now. But as I got older, I was like, yo, who are these other people that we haven't heard of? Now I'm reading more Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams, Glenn Lowry, reading some John McWhorter, listening to some Coleman Hughes, amongst others. And I was like, yo, who were the conservative voices in the civil rights era? What were they saying at the time? What were they saying? What were they saying while Malcolm was saying what he was saying? Even though Malcolm and the NOI and stuff, they would actually align more to conservative values, by the way. Family, God, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and all of that good stuff. But that's neither here nor there. And Black people in general are more conservative than not. Another episode. So y'all, we hit an hour, y'all, and I really do appreciate y'all for being here with me for another episode of the Philosopher Study. But I cannot be a true philosopher and a true intellectual without leaving the door open for some discourse. So if you have any questions or any thoughts or anything like that before we close up today that you would like to hear me respond to or get my insight on, or you want to disagree or agree or whatever the case is, the door is open, because that's what education actually is the exchange of ideas and things like that. And just because I have a microphone and a camera in front of my face, it doesn't mean that I'm right. So if anybody's out there, before we wrap up, and want to give any kind of thoughts, agreements, disagreements, insights, or whatever the case is, please, please, please take this opportunity right now to do so. And again, I thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Philosopher Study. Shout out to my beautiful people at Radio Maju out in Kenya. This episode will be airing 3 days from now. For my Kenyan audience, shout out to them. Shout out to Music Jared. Shout out to my brother Kunta. Shout out to MC Spook. Shout out to the whole Truce label over there. Shout out to my beautiful people that always show love from the motherland. Shout out to South Africa. Shout out to Nigeria. Shout out to Tanzania. Man, all of y'all been holding me down and showing your brother love for many, many years, especially through the hip hop tip, and I truly, truly appreciate it. Next month we are going to have our first guest with us, man. Matter of fact, let me see if I could pull up this brother's information here. Brother Guido, you're gonna see it pull up in a second. Brother Guido, man, this brother, this is a brilliant brother. He's actually been, I'm not sure if he's on the live right here right now, but he's a definitely an insightful brother. And he seems like, it looks like he studies like the archaeology side of things, the genetics of black people and things like that. Enough for that it struck my interest, and I was like, you know what, I need to have a conversation with this brother and see where his mind is at. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, I want to meet 1,000 people. I want to meet 1,000 real ones that support me and we them, and that's how we're going to sustain everything. Look, y'all, I know this ain't for everybody. For my people, the Awe people, we have a saying that, the followers of Mawulisa is for the thinkers and not for the multitude. So, if y'all are part of this small fraternity of thinkers right now, I definitely appreciate the time that y'all had with me, man. And let's see what we got here. I just want to say thank you for opening up with facts, your experience. I appreciate you. Hey, man, I appreciate you, family. Hold on, I gotta skip down here. Well, yeah, man. I'm A-Way, brother. A-Way from Togo. You heard? I'm your A-Way brother. We the philosophers. It like, when I started doing research on the A-Way people and found out like they were the philosophers, I was like, it makes so much sense now. You know what I mean? Yes, indeed. Responsibility is king or queen. We honor our ancestors. We honor our ancestors by continuing the work, yo. Baba Sietu, thank you. Thank you so much for all the love and support throughout the years, Baba. You know what I mean? I can tell that you were me as a youngster and still now within your respective group, and I am you. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many similarities even to the creation of our spiritual paths and all of that. So, I appreciate the imagery that I'm out here too. You know what I'm saying? In that sense. I'm initiated as HRH Mowa Oludumare Isakode. I've been initiated as the Isakode by His Royal Highness Prince Tono Oke. who's actually dropping a book very soon. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So Issa Kude, Chief Priest of Divinity. And I use that, and I use that in a sense of philosophy as well. I've studied pretty much every major religion out there is to study, to varying degrees. And I like to focus more so on the commonalities versus the things that divide us and things like that. It's really unfortunate that, again, that's another one of the distractions that we're dealing with as a people. We're so focused on what God you serve rather than serving the people that's actually dealing with the issues that are at hand. Like, how come Allah, Yahweh, and all of them ain't tell you like to put that stuff to the side and be like, yo, help this child read and eat, so on and so forth. It's too much ego that's running rampant, and too many of the righteous that are being quiet. And that's the issue. The devil runs rampant when the God's people are quiet, and I can't sit around here and be quiet no more. And I know that I will be sustained in what it is that I'm doing because I know that I'm living my purpose. I have no fears of retaliation in my job or anything like that. Or if someone sees me and says, "Oh my gosh, I know where he works at," and so on and so forth. I know that my ancestors and my creator have already seen that and been there and gone. And you know, whatever path is in front of me is the path that's in front of me. And I've never been neglected or forsaken or anything yet. So I'm gonna keep on doing what I'm doing, with the fervor and with the might that I do it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's all about, man. But my grandfather's Muslim. I have my Muslim grandparents, had a Christian upbringing. I studied with the Hebrew Israelites. I studied with the Moors. I studied with the Hindus. It was actually the Hindu faith that actually got me well on my path through the teachings of Paramahamsa Yogananda, Swami Vivekananda, Swami Prabhupada. Matter of fact, I got Prabhupada's version of the Bhagavad Gita right here. You know what I'm saying? One of the sayings in our culture, the Moa Temple, is knowledge is infinite. And knowledge can come from anybody or anywhere at any time or anything like that. So you always got to be prepared for it. I remember one time when the creator dropped in my heart that, like, look out for the wisdom of the homeless. And like, I went to a restaurant and it was this homeless brother and we sat there and talked. And he dropped some wisdom on me right then and there. It's like wisdom and knowledge can come from anywhere. Again, these are signs, man. Like, yo, it's really frustrating to see so much of the charlatans and straight out bullshit that's going on social media, and too many of our people falling for it. Listen to what Dr. King said. A tough mind has discernment. So I'm not going to sit here and give you a checklist of what to and what not to look whatever for. I've done that before, and whatever. But use some time tonight to ask your higher self to sharpen your discernment, and you be sharp enough to actually listen to it. And if all hearts and minds are clear, I'm about to go ahead and sign on out, y'all. It's your brother Moa Olodumare, and this is the Philosopher's Study. Please, please, please be sure to follow me, subscribe to me on my YouTube page, y'all. On my YouTube page, I will also continue to post it here on my Facebook and Instagram. Just for the sake of getting more, casting a larger net. But I really want to get those numbers up on YouTube. The first set is 500. I'm about halfway there. Y'all. So if y'all know somebody who would love content like this, man, be sure you invite them next time, yo. You know what I'm saying? Invite them next time to come on true, because we're gonna make it do what it do. You feel what I'm saying? And let's see. Our next one's on March 11th, 8 o'clock, same place, same time. You know what I'm saying? Every second Monday, yo, we're gonna be out here doing our thing. Every second Monday, you know what I'm saying? So be sure you put that on your calendars and all of that good stuff. Be sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff. The Mowa Studios at YouTube. But if you are happening to watch me on Facebook or Instagram, I appreciate y'all and giving me the time. And I'm going to stop this exactly at 11:11, 1:11:11.